People staying where the front entire wall of the motel and the roof had been blown off. That's just a little farther north on 41 here. From something as big as that to the small things that you see picked up and blown around by these fierce winds. And then I think you're looking at the pictures of the Holiday Inn now. There were actually people staying here. Remember that this area thought that Tampa was going to bear the brunt of the storm, and it was only at the last minute that it hooked that right turn and came in here. But again, as far as we can tell, there were no serious injuries at the Holiday Inn, just obviously a lot of devastation that we can see.
Brad, we're looking, I know you probably can't see what we're seeing right now. We're looking at some of the pictures you've been sending in, not only of the gas station, but of the roadways there and the trees and the lines down across the roads. Does anyone realize that in the aftermath of something like this, those lines could be dangerous? There could be contamination. There could be live electrical wires, should there be any electricity there. Are people aware of what they're up against?
Well, that's hard to say this morning. I think what they're most concerned about is when they wake up and they come out of wherever they were staying while all this was going on. They want to see their house, and that's how most of us focus. Is my house safe? What's left of my house? So I think they're starting there, and then we are seeing a few people going around with high-8 cameras and the like to take pictures of downtown for some sort of weird souvenir. But as far as the power lines go, there is no power here. I think substations were knocked out. We haven't seen a live wire sparking in the entire 24 to 36 hours that we've been up here. So I think, again, it's just that central realization. Am I okay? Is my family okay? What's the condition of my house? And your circle of care goes out from there.
You know, it's interesting, Rad, and you talked about it a moment ago. You said, you know, people thinking that things are going to come back in the matter of hours. You know, we're not just talking about the power out and things of that sort. We're talking about three hospitals out of service for people that might need medical care in the days after this storm. We're talking about the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, not operational. We're talking about the sheriff's office destroyed. So it goes beyond just the scene in front of your face there. The things that we as normal citizens depend upon, the folks there just can't right now, can they?
Right, even the firehouse. We just stopped by the firehouse, which they're sort of using as an emergency command center now, and the doors on the bay of the fire department were blown in. They're using the building, but again, there's no power inside. And as you know, in a situation like this, something that we've come to rely on, like a cell phone, it's so difficult to get service up here now because the networks are so busy. In fact, that's how we're hearing you. We were lucky enough to get one open cell, and so that's how I'm able to hear you now, is on this jerry-rigged cell phone that we have. But people are really reduced to the basics. I mean, basics is hardly the word, but the basics of living now to survive.
You know, we keep making comparisons, Red, to Hurricane Andrew. That's what we know, and there are so many similarities and comparisons to be drawn. I know you covered Hurricane Andrew extensively as well. And as I watch people traveling the street there, I remember how South Dade was almost unrecognizable then because landmarks had been blown down. Of course, there were no street signs. Familiar trees and posts were gone, and it was hard to even know your own town and where to go. And it's interesting, the point you bring up, that there are people who had everything a couple of days ago and right now have nothing and may not realize they have nothing and have to rely on services like the Red Cross, like the National Guard for protection, like the FEMA people coming in and setting up emergency shelters for them and places to go. Have you seen the cavalry yet?
Well, we've seen the cavalry go overhead in the form of 3 National Guard helicopters, and I think since Andrew, we are going to see a faster response down here. And I remember how the people of Homestead in Florida City were so buoyed when the National Guard finally did come in those massive numbers. Do you remember the scenes at the Port of Miami of the Navy Chinook helicopters loading up with supplies, starting to ferry them down, the tent cities that were built down in Homestead? That is going to be what I think the future is going to hold here. I just think that 10 years or 12 years or however it's been since Andrew, I think that's going to be a lot faster this time. Governor Bush obviously has been paying attention, and I know he was planning to tour the area down here by air sometime today, and I think that we're going to see a much quicker response on a grand scale. FEMA, National Guard, all that kind of thing, Red Cross, Salvation Army, I think we're going to see that pretty quick down here. The people need it.
And you know, we just saw something that may be a metaphor for what's gone on down there. There was a shot of a repair shop. I don't know if you're the ones that shot it. It showed a car up on the rack and the entire repair shop around it. There's the picture right there. The entire repair shop is destroyed. The car that was in for repairs is still up on the jacks. If that doesn't sort of in some way give us the metaphor for what has happened in the central part of our state, I don't think anything does at this point. Rad, also, by the way, we have some aerial video. The governor apparently has been in one of those helicopters surveying the area as well. What is your take right now? You know, we talk about right after these things happen, sort of that fog that people are in. You know, you've got a ton of traffic behind you. Do you think these are people just out just to see for themselves what is going on? I mean, I can't imagine that they've got specific places to go to since everything is closed down.
Right, we're looking at the live picture now of the traffic on 41, and this is going to be an issue. I mean, it is only 8:30 on a Saturday morning, and yes, I mean, what has happened in Punta Gorda has already become legend in this area, and people are coming in with their cameras, taking pictures, and I think what we will see pretty soon is what we saw last night. Last night, authorities wouldn't let anybody, including reporters, into Punta Gorda. They're going to have to do the same thing here and shut it down to only the residents who live here, because look at 41 here. It is just side-by-side, bumper-to-bumper traffic. For us to just try to go up a couple of blocks to get those pictures of the Holiday Inn, everything is magnified here. What would normally be a 10-minute trip is now a half hour. So they are going to have to do something to reroute the traffic here. 41, again, is a north-south road, as we all know, but at this point, with a disaster underway of this size, you're going to have to do some traffic management. But I think these are all issues that are being discussed now in various meetings of civil preparedness types and police and fire. I mean, imagine if there was a fire right now, there is no way a fire truck could get up 41 the way it is.
You know, excuse me.
No, go, please.
Rad, can I make an observation here? I'll kind of go out on a limb a little bit just from our experiences with Andrew. There's just such vulnerability now to all the businesses that have been destroyed, and I don't see any police or any kind of guard there right now. Do you remember the looting that went on after Andrew? Do you see anything that might lead you to believe there's going to be someone to take advantage of the situation here?
Well, there were rampant rumors last night that there was looting going on here in Punta Gorda. But we did talk to the police this morning, and they said those rumors were simply not true. They had seen no evidence of any looting here. Again, it's hard to describe what it's like when it is all dark. We are so